Without further ado, I would like to start off by asking some questions to perhaps I will begin with P&G, David. Now, David, you in your presentation, you talk about open innovation is our lifeblood. A very good tagline. You have even institutionalized open innovation by adopting this open innovation framework called Connect and Develop. Now, of course, I think all of us know that open innovation is a journey. Can you share with us some of the challenges you faced in the past before open innovation is being embraced and supported in the organization?
Yes, sure. I think one of the big challenges is not invented here, because typically organizations and the people within them have been rewarded for doing the invention internally. So that was one of the biggest challenges we had, is how do we change the mindset from you are rewarded for doing it yourself in secret, outside from the outside world, into one where you embrace the outside world. And I think one of the biggest impacts we had on that was actually when direction came from the very top of the company. Our CEO declared that we would then start to seek external solutions and we would reward them. So in fact, an example of that is tomorrow afternoon at our innovation center here in Singapore, we have our year-end celebrations to recognize all the great work. And a large part of that is some awards we're doing for open innovation, where we're going to be recognizing in front of all of their peers the people who've been doing the great work and delivering outcomes from that. And that type of reward and recognition, I think, then starts to legitimize and also encourage and incentivize people for taking a different mindset.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Maybe the other David from PAR International, because you are SME, I understand from your business that, in fact, you do not really have a lot of resources or R&D resources, to be precise, within your organization. You depend a lot on partners. Can you also tell us what is your open innovation journey in your working with external partners?
Yes. As you understand that we are SME and we lack a lot of capabilities. So we actually been, very blessed to have all the government agency, including the IHL, that they help us, and through this platform of solving our problem statement, we are utilizing the school's testing facilities and equipments, which we are very lacking. So actually, this is a very good opportunity whereby we can slowly build up our capabilities to engage our future challenges. Now, also, I would like to encourage that SME should look forward to be able to be part of the MNC's innovation process, in which MNC is actually, to help and also to groom as part of the ecosystem, that we can be part of a line for the volume, a small volume for the tests on the market. So I'm looking forward that such a collaboration should be further enhanced so that we as SME can learn a lot from the MNCs. Thank you.
Yeah, David, just a follow-up question on your approach. Since you rely so heavily on external parties for your innovation needs, now in the process of creating some of these new products, I'm sure you also develop some new knowledge, some new know-how, or for that matter, maybe even IP. Now, how do you ensure that your own business is not at the mercy of the external party, and to protect your own company interests?
Yeah. While working with external party, The know-how actually that we acquire, in a sense, working together with them, but this still needs further refinement and, finding a suitable different, because we are engaging different markets and different requirements. So, for example, different areas whereby different market require a different consumer taste, and then we have to further develop the products, as well as how then to see that this product extend their shelf life, that it reaches the overseas market in good condition, and after consumer use it, are satisfied with it, and they continue to buy our products, so that this can be a sustainable kind of business. Now, frankly speaking, commercialization actually are the most challenging part of the innovation process. So this is one thing that we have to constantly to upgrade ourselves and build up our own internal capabilities. Thank you.
Okay, the other David, you want to build on this?
Yeah, I would just build on that. You were talking about how to protect intellectual property, yeah, and make sure that you secure a position. I mean, there are ways to do that. I mean, non-disclosure agreements, confidentiality disclosure agreements, but often that will then enable you to share confidential information, and that will be protected by the contract you have in place. But what we actually often find is, at least for initial conversations, you can have those conversations about what it is you're able to deliver and the capabilities you've got without actually disclosing how you do it. Yeah, because quite often signing an NDA, if that's the very first thing you're going to do before you get into any conversations, that's a real barrier to the first conversations. So disclose what you're able to achieve without disclosing how you do it. You can then get interest and confirm that you have then the desire from both parties to go to that next level, to sign then an NDA, which then protects all that background knowledge and know-how you have.
Thank you, David, from P&G, for offering the insight and also advice to the SMEs, especially those SMEs who have been working closely with larger companies. P&G is definitely one of them. Mike, you have been waiting patiently. Now, I've been to your facilities in Singapore, in the Bright Science Innovation Hub. It is very impressive. I have seen also startup working in your facilities. I would like to understand that you talk about this innovation, open innovation collaboration. Now, I need you to explain a little bit further how you select partners or startup to work in your facilities, and whether it is just an arrangement, people to use your facilities, or there are more than just sharing of facilities in your open innovation journey.
Thank you, Lup Wai, for the question. And David, I would welcome you to come and visit the facilities and also be part of the innovation journey with us. Very simply, we look at aligned technologies as a start. So DSM is in the area of food and human nutrition, beverages, nutraceutical, pharmaceutical, so the area is quite broad. What we do is produce ingredients that help sustain life, improve health, improve immunity, find ways of delivering ingredients to make food tasty, healthy. The Bright Science Hub essentially is a series of offices and laboratories where companies will take up residence in areas that they can help develop and produce the proof of concept that they're looking for, and work with DSM not just in Singapore, but use the resources and knowledge the group has globally to help tailor those good ideas and make them market ready. And the ability to be open and upfront, as David had said from P&G, is that you have to have an openness, a trust, and you've got to be willing to work together. So my offer is being able to work in close collaborations and be able to develop products that meet market needs in different parts of the world. So our labs and ability to provide introductions to companies, present new technologies as part of essentially good customer service is what we're looking to do.
Michael, there's one question from the audience. Maybe I would like to read out, and perhaps you can answer this for Dr. Patane. For Blue Sky research at DSM, approximately how much is available in funding, and approximately how long will the Blue Sky research funding be available?
That's a good question. We have a body in Delft in the UK, in the Netherlands. It's DSM Ventures. And yes, we do look at Blue Sky funding. The R&D facility for open innovation is global. So in LATAM, in North America, in EMEA, APAC, Europe, each of the different categories and R&D centres are linked in equally to the Innovation Centre. And what we do is we scout for technology, we help develop technology, we help share ideas. So it's on a case-by-case basis. I'm very happy to have the discussion and look at how we can collaborate together.
Thanks, Mike. So for the audience, you heard Mike's answer. Please feel free to contact him after this plenary session. Now, David Tan from PAR. Now, David, yes. You are also a president of SFMA, which stands for Singapore Food Manufacturing Association. So you have quite a sizable membership. They are all in the food industry. And you have been quite successful in open innovation and help your company to grow. How are you leveraging on your position as the president of SFMA in motivating, in helping to influence your members to succeed?
So first and foremost, SFMA, with a close of 150 members, we champion the food product innovations initiative. Now, first that we did is the Food Innovation Product Award competition, whereby 70 over IHL and is actually team up together and co-develop products which we had a 20% of these commercialization products. Now, secondly, Sugar Smart Challenge 2020, we have partnering HPB to develop sugar replacement product. And also thirdly is the open innovations, including collaborations with overseas universities such as Monash University on the Virtual Innovation Challenge that co-develop products suitable for the Australian markets. Now, beyond 2020, SFMA actually focused on 5 key areas. Firstly is the export consultancy for internationalizations. Secondly, create innovation program for members to collaborate with accelerators and startup to develop products together. Now, the third one is collaboration with 7 others food-related associations to target and to develop innovations together as well. And fourth point is to scale up the skill sets of workers to engage a deeper technology. And the last one is to step up partnership with e-commerce player to speed up and go to market process for the new innovations. So this is what we have been championing, innovations in food industry. Right.
I have a question here from the audience. I guess this question must be coming from the SMEs. So I would like to direct this question to Mike and also later on David from P&G. The question is, how should SMEs or startups prepare or get themselves in a good position for co-innovating with large MNCs like DSM and P&G? Maybe Mike, you would like to start first?
Yeah, Lup Wai, it's an incredibly good question. Most startups, in our experience, have incredibly good technology. Is generally needed as the next stage is an understanding of the go-to-market or the business plan that's required. So how do you scale up the technology? How do you identify how it fits in a category? How do you identify the customers and the need of customers? So we work with companies to help build that path to market strategy. So what DSM looks to do is understand what an SME is trying to do. Look at the direction and plans they have, not just at the start, but also at exit. And we align together to take your great technology and shape it and mold it so that it fits a consumer want by a particular category in a particular country. So you don't just get the technical and engineering resources, you get the ability to work with commercial teams, marketing teams, sales teams, regulatory teams to help accelerate the journey forward. I hope that answers your question.
David, P&G?
Yeah, I would just build on that. I think that's a great point. Not only come and pitch, so to speak, the technology you have, but also the ultimate business you're looking to create. Are you looking to license the technology to somebody else who will manufacture it? Are you looking to divest? Are you looking to provide a service or supply? Think about all of those things, because all of those will be needed if you're going to be clear on the role that not only you play, but the company you're going to talk to is going to play. So what is it you're also wanting from them? And then you can figure out, is there a fit there between what you have, your capabilities and your desires, and what the large company has to offer? Is it you want to put it on their brand, or is it you want to divest, or you want to license? I think Mike summarized well that you need that industrialization and commercialization conversation as well as just, will the technology deliver?
Thanks, David. I have one more question, which is quite closely related to open innovation. I think it's also very relevant for Mike and David as well. This is related to intellectual property. Now, if new IP is generated as a result of the collaboration, how should the IP ownership be shared, especially if the collaboration is between a large enterprise and SME? Do you think SME will position when you negotiate joint IP ownership or protecting the IP?
Shall I?
Sure. Mike, please go ahead.
Small companies develop intellectual property, and it's great that it provides a form of protection of technology. I was once told by a global law firm is that IP is important, but it depends on what you do with it. It depends on the commercialization path to market. The background IP is always owned by the inventing company. It's just common sense, and the development of substantially further impressed IP could be shared. The ability for a company to be able to take that IP and bring it to market is certainly something that the holding company absolutely has to have. So it's a question of what the company wants to do with the IP. And as David said, is it licensing? Is it being able to look at giving exclusivity for manufacturing or distribution? The IP that a company holds is fantastic for holding some intellectual property about a technology or a product. It's then what you do with it to bring it to market that's the next step forward.
David, do you want to supplement?
Yeah, just a couple of builds on that one, because often I think the fear is that for a small company, that IP may be critical to their future success. Yeah, whereas for a large company, it's probably part of a large portfolio, lots of opportunities being explored. So one way to deal with that difference is, for the large company to potentially have a period of an option that they could use as to whether they're going to use that IP. So they have an opportunity to negotiate for exclusivity on IP in their application area. And if they choose not to then go forward, that option ceases, and it doesn't prevent the small company then from going out and playing with other partners in that area. That's a way, I think, to unlock some of the barriers and those risks.
David, from PAR, now you heard the two gentlemen talk about how they achieve win-win with enterprises that they work with in the area of IPs. Now you have been from day one embracing open innovation. I'd like to, of course, it's never a smooth journey. There will always be some successes and there are some lessons learned. Do you have some valuable lesson learned to share with the rest of the audience?
I'm delighted that MNCs nowadays do embrace innovation through developing products together with startup or accelerators. This opened up a lot of opportunity whereby Singapore, we are developing a lot of, putting a lot of efforts in grooming of startup and accelerators. So from that perspective of SME, we truly have to understand ourselves as to the product that we develop must be further to be of a certain standards, and also putting a lot of effort to ensure that these products are actually, or the developments of it are of a certain standards. And also importantly, I feel that if we, as a small company, we keep everything 100%, it's just a small pie, but we gain 100%. But working with SME, I believe that with their international outreach, whereby SME product, if working or SME to work with them, entrepreneurs, the chances of commercialization will be greatly enhanced. So having a smaller pie of a bigger pie, I think is worthwhile. And especially us, we need to be fast to reach out to the market. If we take our own sweet time to develop a product that ultimately, when we reach the market, is no longer relevant, then we're putting ourselves with a lot of unnecessary investment. So I love to see that MNCs working together, and then how then can we protect our IP is, especially, Lup Wai, you guys have done a great job to be the facilitator and the intermediary for us as a SME to engage MNCs. This is in fact what you guys have done a great job, because understanding the perspective of MNCs, we SMEs are able to have wider understanding and more in-depth understanding. How then can we prepare ourselves in order that MNCs are willing to work with us? Because the risk is actually more for the MNCs rather than the SME. So I look it in the positive manner, on this aspect.
Thanks, David. Your answers, I hope it has also addressed one of the questions from the audience asking David that what are the key success factors that have supported past innovation journey? How would you advise other SMEs to get started? I think in between all the answers, I strongly believe you have already addressed this question. Now, I do have one question directing DSM and P&G. Now, for DSM and P&G, given your global reach, what do you see are the main strengths of Singapore SMEs which help them interest you to co-innovate with them? Anyone? Do you hear my question?
I did. Maybe let me try. I think one of the great opportunities Singapore has is it's a very concentrated ecosystem, yeah, in such a small island, yeah, nation. The capabilities that exist across the island and the interconnection of those is far greater and more concentrated than you can find in any other nation in the world, I believe, yeah. So I think that's one of the opportunities that Singapore has, is to make those connections. So I think it'll be far easier to reach out, yeah, and have some of those early face-to-face conversations, or in today's world, Zoom conversations, yeah, with MNCs, and also to then potentially bring in some of the other capabilities that exist within the island. So I think that's the opportunity that exists. Whereas if I was looking to do that in the United States, our headquarters are in Cincinnati, Ohio, and some of the startups we're working with are in Silicon Valley. That's several thousand miles away and 3 time zones away. Much more difficult than when you're building those first relationships to create that trust, create the mutual understanding. So I think that's an opportunity Singapore has.
Thank you. Mike, you have 30 seconds because I want to wrap up the session.
David, I agree with you completely. Singapore is astounding insofar it has a stable financial structure, it has a stable government, it has great proximity to every region in Asia, particularly. It has growth funds where the government is incredibly supportive, even towards its 30-30 strategy. So the ability that the country and the industries within that country are able to work together, because it's a smallish island that is very progressive, it provides a platform for being able to accelerate to the rest of the world. So that's the reason we chose Singapore.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Time really flies. I thought I have a lot of time, 30 minutes. I'm looking at the clock. I have only 1 minute to wrap up the sessions. So first and foremost, I would like to thank, all the audience for dialing in to watch these plenary sessions. And of course, I would like to thank Mike, David, for spending your time with us to share your insight, your open innovation journey. Now, since IPI's mission is to support local SMEs and to grow the business, and you have heard the success stories and the insight about open innovation from the 3 gentlemen, especially David, also from representing the SMEs, I really strongly encourage the enterprises in Singapore to pivot to innovation and embrace open innovation. Should you need help, you need support, so please do not hesitate to contact IPI. And with that, I would like to end the session and pass it back to the MC. Thank you very much to all of you. Thanks.
Thank you, Lup Wai and IPI.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wong Lup Wai, Dr. David Jakubovic, Dr. Michael Patane, and David Tan for the exciting discussion. We've come to the end of the plenary session on open innovation in uncertain times today. Thank you to our speakers and to all attending this webinar for your active participation today. We hope that you have benefited from the insightful presentations. The QR code for a post-webinar survey on day 1 of TechInnovation 2020 will be shown on screen shortly. We look forward to receiving your feedback if this is the only session you are attending today. For attendees who will be joining us in our next crowd pitching session on urban solution and sustainability, we'll see you after the break at 1 p.m. Thank you.